Welcome to another interesting episode of Women in Business right here on Afia TV. You know how we do it every Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. on Afia TV. And today we have someone very unique as usual you love to meet. So stay tuned. My name is Marvelous Apuamaga, your host for Women in Business. And like I said earlier before we went to that quick break, we have someone very unique, someone very special. I mean, someone you might know. You might know. If you stay in Enugu, you definitely know the person I have with me right here in the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, I have your Belmonds cakes here with me. Let's meet Mrs. Uwaoma Ifechelobi. You see how I pronounced your name?
You pronounced it very well.
You're welcome. She's the founder of Belmonds
so
Cake, guys. Belmonds Cakes, you're welcome on the
Thank
program.
you so much,
How do you do?
Very well, thank you. And
You have a very beautiful smile.
Oh,
I'm
thank
sure you know.
Thank you.
Okay, so anyways, we've been hearing of Belmonds Cakes. I mean, if you stay in Enugu, I don't know if you guys have other branches outside Enugu.
Port Harcourt.
Oh, okay. So if you stay in Enugu, you definitely know about Belmonds Cakes. I think I've had your cake once.
Just once.
Yeah,
How come?
once. I honestly don't know. I'm a lover of cakes, and then I think it was this year on my birthday, someone got me red velvet from Belmonds, and it was so. Oh my goodness, it was so lovely. And when I saw your contact, I was like, no, I need to talk to Belmonds Cakes. I need to talk. So tell us, you're welcome. Tell us how you started and the inspiration behind this.
Okay. I actually started baking so many years ago. I was quite young. I had just finished my first year in the university, and I intended to change from botany to pharmacy. But I failed two major courses that I needed to pass to be able to change to pharmacy, and I couldn't change to pharmacy, so I was looking for an option. And I came across somebody that mentioned a course that sounded really exciting, nutrition and dietetics. It sounded good, right? So I attended some of the lectures, and it felt like something I really wanted to do. Then people around me started teasing me that I was in school learning how to cook and bake, so I decided to make out something out of it.
Okay.
So interestingly, at that time, I met somebody who came to rewrite a course, and we developed a good relationship. And she gave me a piece of cake that changed my life. It was so good. It was the best cake I had ever tasted.
So it was not something you had passion for from the beginning?
I wouldn't say I had a passion for it, but have always been very passionate about business. Have sold so many things. Before then, had bracelets, perfumes, clothes.
Perfumes, you sold perfumes. Interesting.
So have always been business inclined, right? But at the time I tasted that cake, I knew that I wanted that cake to be around in our community. I schooled in UNN, and at that time there was no cake like that. There was nothing like that. So I asked her to teach me how to bake, right? And she did, and the rest is history.
So how did you start your own Belmonds Cakes, and why did you choose the name Belmonds Cakes for your brand?
Okay, so I baked through my stay in the university from my second year to my final year. At that time, I was known as the Cake Princess.
In school?
Right, yes. Then when I graduated from the university, before youth service, I enrolled to do a French course with Alliance Française. And we were given an assignment to translate our local names to French. So my local name is Uwaoma, which means beautiful world. And in French, it means Belmonds. Right?
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So, yeah. That's where the name came from.
Okay. So, who or what would you say has been your biggest influence since you started Belmonds Cakes?
My biggest influence will be, sadly, late Mrs. Lillian Lawson, the lady that taught me how to bake. Right? Everything started because I met her and I ate a piece of cake that was so good. And even after that, I had a beautiful relationship with her. And I always ran back to her for, upgrade classes. So I would say she has been my greatest inspiration.
So have you ever felt tired of doing this?
Definitely. On days when I have to work all through the night, sleep in the office, get back home maybe by 2 a.m. and I see my children sleeping. Sometimes I just feel like it's a lot, right? But there are days when I'm really excited about it.
So what keeps you going?
The fact that there are a lot of young people that, walk into Belmont Cakes in search of a job, and they get a job, and Belmont Cakes seems to give them a direction in life. People with absolutely no knowledge of cakes, baking, they come in and they fall in love with the art. They have a direction to follow. They become bakers. They become cake decorators. That is my biggest push. It's really exciting to know that, right? Belmont Cakes is giving hope to a lot of people, maybe hopeless, who were hopeless before.
So are you kind of grateful for the courses you failed in school?
Oh, definitely. I always say it's still a miracle, right? That I failed Maths 111 and Maths 112. I'm really glad that I did, because honestly, there would have been nothing like Belmont Cakes. I would have maybe become a pharmacist, right? But I love what I'm doing right now, and I'm glad I failed those courses.
All right, we'll go on a short break now. When we come back, we get to hear more from founder of Belmont Cakes. To stay tuned. You're still watching Women in Business right here on Afia TV, and we still have the founder of Belmont Cakes, Mrs. Uwaoma, with us in the studio. So, Mrs. Uwaoma, tell me how you manage your business and your personal life, especially now that you have children and also a husband.
Yeah. So I found out that any day I have a to-do list, a lot more organized, right? And any day I feel I'm too busy and I forget to write my to-do list, I end up being very disorganized. So the to-do list thing works for me a lot. If I have everything written down, the to-do list for the house, the to-do list for the office, right? I easily walk through my day with that. But on days that maybe I rush out in the morning, or I oversleep a little and have to, just wake up, get dressed and run to work, I find everything, up and down. So now I'm trying to be more organized, ensure that I have my to-do list, ensure that I plan ahead, I plan the meals, I plan their school hair, because my job is tasking. I work all through the week from morning till midnight sometimes, a lot of times, right? So without planning the little bits around me, I will be in trouble. It's not easy at all. It was a lot easier when I was single and,
I know,
doing
right?
my business.
I had to ask because
but right now, I have to be more organized to be able to make it work. Have I found the perfect formula? I'm not sure. In fact, I haven't, but I think I'm doing better
definitely.
now. When my children started coming, when they were still very little, at a point I was going crazy, right?
Why?
Then I was living in Port Harcourt. I had issues getting the help. I lived in Port Harcourt. We lived in Port Harcourt for about 5 years, and within the 5 years, I had about 15 to 20 helps.
15 to 20?
Yes,
Why?
today somebody comes, they're not stable people there, So today somebody comes, the next week the person is leaving, and there's a new person that you have to. So it was really difficult for me to plan myself, because I had people coming and going. But now, Enugu is a bit more,
So aside the challenges you've mentioned earlier that you faced in while starting the business, are there other challenges you faced, and how were you able to overcome them?
Challenges that we still face, yes. Staffing is a bit of a challenge for our kind of business. It's a skill-based business. So you need a period of about 6 months to a year to train somebody properly to function well, right? But you find that after 6 months, sometimes after 3 months, people feel they have achieved whatever they want to learn from your bakery, and it's time for them to leave. Or maybe something genuinely comes up and they have to move on. Then you have to start afresh to recruit new people and train them. In places like Lagos, there are a lot of professional bakers and cake decorators that you can employ and, have them come in and work because they're already trained. But around here, it's difficult to find people who are already trained. So you do the training and you pray and hope that they last for some time. So we had to come up with a plan where before you leave, right, just give us at least 3 months notice.
Okay.
A lot of people will say it's a lot. 1 month is enough. For a corporate job, yes, 1 month might be enough. But for our kind of business, it's not enough because you need to pass the knowledge over to another person.
Has it been working? Because I know how humans are.
Yes, for some people, it has worked beautifully well.
Okay.
2 months ago, I had somebody who worked for 5 years resign. He put in his resignation letter sometime in October. I asked for a bit of an extension. So he stayed from October to April again before finally leaving.
Okay.
Right. And there was, a good celebration and farewell for him. And that's a way to get the other people to know that, look, when you're walking away, you don't have to bang the door. Just keep the door open. Right? Yeah. I don't know, but I feel sometimes they feel you don't want them to progress in life. And I keep telling people, look, I don't believe that you must be a staff of Belmond Cakes forever, right? But when you're leaving, just leave well, because you can never tell.
Okay, I love that. When you're leaving, leave the door open.
Yes,
don't just bang the
exactly.
door. So we'll get to hear more from Belmond Cakes. We'll come back from this quick break. Stay tuned. You're still watching Women in Business right here on Afia TV, and I am Marvelous Apuamaga. With me in the studio is still Mrs. Uwaoma Ifechelobi. All right, so this is kind of my favorite part of the show because we get to see the other side of our business women. You know how we see business now? Seriousness, anything money, we need to be very strict and serious. So this is where we see the other side of them. So Mrs. Uwaoma, I'll be asking you what you think about some business statements. That's our game for today. And more like a question. Is it question answer? No. I'll be asking what you think about it. And then, we just go from there. So the first one I have here. If you want to progress in your business, do not involve any of your family members. Do you agree with this?
Well, I think it's a 50-50. Now, do not employ. I agree with do not employ your family members because there are a lot of emotions attached to it. So it might mar the relationship.
It might?
Yes, it might. Well, I have experienced it. So it's easier to work with people that are not your family members. When you're upset about something, you're able to let them know and they will understand. But with family members, anything you say becomes a problem.
Why?
So
Well, you can actually deal with your siblings in the house. So why can't you do when it comes to business?
Business is serious, right? At home, everybody is playful. It's family time, all that. But it's business and it's serious, but they don't seem to understand it sometimes. So when you take some decisions, you become an enemy. When you need to let someone go for a bad behavior, it's really difficult if it's a family member.
Okay, so this one says, it's not what you know, it is who you know.
50-50.
Okay, why?
Both. It is what you know that will help you start up, right? But networking is really important. If you know everything and you're just in a closet and you don't know the people that you should, reach out to.
Mrs. Uwaoma, you know you're cheating in this.
No, I'm not.
I want you to choose one.
I'm not. Honestly, it's a 50-50.
I don't agree with
because even if
one, do you agree with it? Yes or no?
If
There's no
I have
maybe
to
options.
choose one, I'll choose what you know.
What you know.
Because what you know will bring people to you.
Do you know how many people? We know these things now.
What
there are
you know
people
will
who
attract the people to you.
There are people who know what they know, but because they don't know anybody or who know who they don't know.
I think if you're good at what you're doing, the right people will come your way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, let's agree with Mrs. Uwaoma. So the last one before we go, this one says, exploit weaknesses even in your partners. Do you agree with this?
Exploit. Can you break it down a bit? Can you
So
put it in another way? So that I'm sure.
some people are extremely kind, and then they go out of their way when you're probably partnering with them. So when you, as a person or as a second partner, sees this, some people would want to take advantage of that.
Okay, so that's clear enough. I don't think it's a good thing to do. I don't agree with exploiting people. If you have noticed a weakness, you should cover the person instead of exploiting someone's weakness. I don't think it's. I'm sure it's not the right thing to do.
Okay, you're sure. This time around, you're sure. All right, so what's the most valuable lesson you've learned as a business owner?
Be focused. There are lots of distractions, and a lot of people are available with advices about what you're meant to be doing, right? And if you're not focused, you end up running about like a headless chicken. You're called this way, you run this way, you see what the competitor is doing, and that way you cannot grow. Because you'll be at one spot because you're jumping from one thing to another. Once you see something that looks a bit shiny, you go for it. So in business, you have to be focused. You must have a plan. You must have a direction, and that is what will help you move forward in whatever you're doing. But if you're being moved by situations around you or the people around you, at the end of the day, you won't achieve so much. So in business, something that I preach and I practice to a large extent is being focused. Have a plan, follow through. Even when something is shiny by the side and calling your name, finish what you have started first and then consider something else.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you,
All right, guys, it was such an interesting one with Mrs. Uwaoma right here on Women in Business show. And till I come your way next time, next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. right here on Afia TV, I remain your host, Marvelous Apuamaga. Keep inspiring.